Good evening and welcome to Barry Ming Live. I'm Barry Ming.
And I'm Mara Whalen.
Tonight, the man behind the publishing sensation The Metaphysics of Media, toward an end to postmodern cynicism and the construction of a virtuous reality, Dr. Peter K. Fallon.
We're excited to have Peter K. Fallon with us this evening. He is Associate Professor of Journalism at Roosevelt University in Chicago, where he teaches media criticism, media ethics, and propaganda studies. His first book, Printing, Literacy, and Education in 18th Century Ireland, Why the Irish Speak English, is a winner of the Marshall McLuhan Award for Outstanding Book in the Field of Media Ecology for 2007.
The Metaphysics of Media is published by the University of Scranton Press, and has been selling well on Amazon.com, and on the website of the University of Chicago Press. But The Metaphysics of Media only hit the bookstores on May 1st, and so tonight's conversation is something of an inaugural interview on the occasion of the book's official release. We're happy to be joined by Dr. Fallon from his home office in Elmwood Park, Illinois. Good evening, Dr. Fallon.
Good evening, Barry and Mara. Nice to be here.
Dr. Fallon, I wonder if you could tell our viewers what, exactly...
Please, Barry, and Mara, call me Peter. That would be fine.
Okay. Peter, thank you. I wonder if you could tell our viewers what, exactly, is the metaphysics of media? What does that mean? Is this some deep, boring, philosophical tome?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you, Barry. I had to do some deep research, philosophical, the history of philosophy, in order to write this book. But I don't think it's that kind of a book. I don't think it's going to be boring or tedious. I think it is an important book, and it's accessible to both lay people and scholars. I think what it has to say is important to individuals and to our country, and I think to people around the globe.
But the metaphysics of media. What does that mean? What does this title refer to?
Well, the metaphysics of media is predicated on the observation that different media, because of their different physical and symbolic forms, because of the way that they structure information, either propositionally or presentationally, that in the ways that they bias our attention towards concerns of either time or space, duration or extent, that these different media have historically engendered different conceptions of reality and, of course, then of what's not real. If reality, as such, is a socially constructed phenomenon, then the dominant medium in a society is going to have an impact on how people see reality.
Okay, sure, I understand that. But for the benefit of our viewers, can you give an example of what that means?
Again, I'm not going to lie to you, Barry. It's fairly difficult to explain in a 10 or 20-second soundbite fairly complex ideas.
Oh, no. We have guests come on the show and do it all the time.
And that's precisely the problem with a medium that moves abundant information so quickly at the speed of light and treats it as a commodity to be bought and sold. We start looking for quick and easy answers to questions that we haven't fully formed in our minds yet. We look for immediate solutions to problems that are enormously complex. And we end up with a perverse view of reality that's based at least in part on market concepts. Let me give you another example. The electric culture we're living in today biases us strongly to our senses of sight and sound, our eyes and our ears. We're accustomed to taking in enormous quantities of information visually and orally. Pictures, moving images, music, sounds of all sorts, and this serves to inhibit our perception of other realities, transcendent realities, realities that move us beyond the physical world. What becomes important to us is what we can see and what we can hear, and more important, what we can see and hear now. The problem with this is that much of what we see and hear is not real. Television, for instance, is absolutely an imaginary existence.
Are you suggesting that our audience is deluded in some way, that they are hallucinating, or that they are stupid?
No, Mara, people aren't stupid. Deluded, perhaps. And I'm not sure that the hallucination metaphor is entirely appropriate, but I'm not sure that it's entirely inappropriate either. It could be that we are witnessing, as Neil Postman suggested, our culture amusing itself to death. We obsess over trivialities and miss out the actual experiences, the genuine experiences of life.
Are you saying that this program is trivial, and that people watching right now are wasting their time?
Let me put it this way, Mara. I'm sitting here right now having a conversation with two imaginary computer-generated cartoon images, and somebody is out there watching it. To say that this is all a trivialization of our time is not an overstatement. Nothing on television is real, and very little that comes to us through the internet is genuine human experience. I could be, rather than doing this right now, holding my wife's hand, planting a tree, building a new deck, walking my dog, or writing my next book. To say that something that somebody loves to do is a waste of time sounds overly harsh and judgmental. But if watching imaginary people on a box have conversations that never took place is not a waste of time, then I'm not sure what is. And while we're doing that, we're missing out on extremely important events and information about events that are happening in the world, that affect people in the world negatively and will eventually affect us too.
Well, if we accept your premise, and I'm not sure our sponsors will accept it, that we were all wasting our time watching television, and playing video games, and surfing the internet, and listening to our iPods, because these are all just amusements that divert us from reality, what do we do about it? Where do we get our information from? What do we do with our lives? How do we escape the tedium of life?
There's no easy answer, Barry. I'm not suggesting for a moment that we throw our televisions out the window, that we put our computers in the garbage, that we disconnect the internet and lead the ascetic life of a monk. But the French sociologist, media critic, and theologian Jacques Ellul suggested to us many times in many of his works that we reconnect with our genuine human experience and reconnect with other people through personal relationships. And that's not a bad idea. There's much more I have to say about this, and there's much more I say about it in the book. And I suggest that people who are interested find my book. It's on Amazon, it's on barnesandnoble.com, it's available through the University of Chicago Press website, and it's in the bookstores now. Take a look at it and read it for some more suggestions.
Bummer. I hate reading.
The book is called The Metaphysics of Media, Toward an End to Postmodern Cynicism and the Construction of a Virtuous Reality, and it is in bookstores now, and available on Amazon.com, barnesandnoble.com, and on the University of Chicago Press's website. Its author, and our guest tonight, has been Dr. Peter K. Fallon. Peter, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Barry and Mara. It was a real pleasure talking to you tonight.
And thank you at home for joining us. I'm Barry Ming.
And I'm Mara Whalen.
Good night to all of you from Barry Ming Live.